We are back with the live 2024. I am with Mr. Disrupt Education.
Let's go.
Man, happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year.
Man, how were the holidays? How's the family? How are you feeling, man?
It was a chill break. It was nice. If you
Yeah,
can hear me, I'm a little stuffed up, but
yeah.
it's all good,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah,
Just relaxed, cooked
yeah.
some authentic Italian food. We
Oof.
stole a recipe from somebody a long time ago and we put it to
Oh man.
use. We
Oh
didn't really
man.
steal it. Somebody stole it for us from their family. It's like,
I
check
like
this
that.
out. Some spaghetti and meatballs and some real good stuff. You know, just being with family and such. It's been a great break, but I tell you, I miss the kids, man. I miss getting in front of youth and just that energy.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it definitely was an opportunity to, recenter yourself, which is just as important. Even
Hmm.
from a musician standpoint, I tell people it's one thing to be on your grind, be on your grind. But for me as a musician, I do need my rest to be
Hmm.
my at my optimal form,
Yep.
and being able to perform at a high level. So it's just as important to recover and take that time. And that kind of leads into one of my questions I had, as we're into the new year now. I talked to a good mentor of mine, Audrey Boyle, who
Yeah.
former teacher of mine. The question she asked me on New Year's, she said, what are you leaving behind in 23? And my answer to that was people pleasing, right?
Hmm.
It's not my job to people please, even if it's a client, right? You got to find the right fit. And sometimes it's just not a good fit. And so when that does come about, I'm honest with the client. I don't just say yes because it's an opportunity. I'm looking for opportunities that do align with the things that I'm looking to do and the things that genuinely make me happy, right?
Right.
And even her answer to that question was, I'm going to be less resistant. I'm just going to go with flow. I want
Hmm.
flow. I want everything to just flow. So my question to you is, what are you leaving behind in 23 as we are now in 24 here? Let's
Oh,
talk
before
about
I
it.
go into that, Audrey Boyle, if you guys are not following her here on LinkedIn on
Yes.
socials, amazing, amazing woman. Wow.
Incredible.
Thank you, Derek, for connecting us years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does that. She asks you these questions. You're like, oh, now I gotta
Dang.
think, which I
Yeah.
love.
I
I
got
love her for
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we'll tag her
She's
here. I'll
great.
throw her down here in the there in the comments. But
For sure.
um, yeah, I think that's a good. It's almost like my answer is the same as yours, only there's different pieces of it, right? Um,
Mm,
People pleasing is kind of like student pleasing. I'm trying to be nice or play
mm,
nice with the student, and I get into there, it's okay to excuse that or whatever. And then I
mm.
end up sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally holding them to a lower standard. And
Right.
that's what
Right.
I'm leaving as much as I can with
Yeah.
the time that I have.
Right.
Holding people to a lower standard, I guess, would be the way that I'm going to describe it. But there's a lot of
Yeah.
things that come along with that, especially in education. It does relieve stress when you can tell somebody holistically, hey man, this is the way I see you right now. Can you help me understand? Instead
Hmm.
of saying, all right, whatever, man, just check the box. That takes a
Hmm.
lot out of somebody, man. That's, when you're responsible for 120, 150 students every semester. Um,
Yeah.
but it is doable. And I think that's kind of where I'm at, leaving behind that. Also, I mean, a couple of things I always think about, like
Yeah.
leaving behind things that don't stick to the wall or trying to just throw things at the wall. I know what I'm good at. I've had great conversations with Ali Privet about this. We do every year, we kind of do a regroup and talk about what we're going to do on the podcast.
Hmm.
How are we going to promote ourselves
Yeah.
and help others? And I, just understanding what I'm not, that's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to be. Something that I'm not is something that has taken me a long time, but I think well, I know 23 is going to be that's going to be left back there. So that's tough to do as well because you want to do everything, man. But
Oh man, I couldn't agree with you more on that last statement you just made because I think about my brother Daniel Bevan, who helps me
yeah,
on the back end with DG Sax, and a lot of times when I may be overthinking a situation or I may be kind of worrying about a certain thing or process, he kind of simplifies it in one way, and he mentioned to me recently. He said, DG, you've put you've done the hard work, like you've
yeah,
put out the legwork of doing the events. You've made the resume for yourself. Now it's about just leveraging that and taking it to the next level and building on the momentum. So sometimes it's just simplifying the process. And
yeah.
from what it sounds like for you is, what you're leaving behind is how you're going to simplify that process.
Hmm.
And what I'm curious to know too, because I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if the school year has jumped back into play for
Yep.
you.
Hmm.
But what are some ways perhaps that you've started to do that week one or plan on doing that over the course of these next couple of weeks to, kind of let people know like, hey, here's the tone that I'm setting.
Yep.
Take it or leave it. This is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a
Yeah.
very human-centered approach
Yeah.
that I'm going after this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things that I'm doing, I've never done it before, is to get
Mhm.
students into a habit of putting their phone away. And I
Nice.
purchased this kind of phone hanger thing, and a lot of other teachers are like, "Ooh, you going to try that? It's going to be more work." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know it is."
Uh-huh.
But what I want to do is to really kind of get that distraction out of their hands for at least half of a class period and have
Mm.
conversations. I'm taking things. We have some journals that we write every week. I am putting
Nice.
those back on paper,
Hmm.
which is highly not me, man. I'm a
Mm.
digital dude, but to
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
people to write some things down,
Yeah.
rather than just kind of keep typing in digital world everywhere.
Right.
And I am not like promoted by this company at all, but it's called Talking Point. And you
Okay.
can find there's a
Yeah.
lot of different companies that does this, but this is kind of actually where I got our first question from earlier in our first
Nice.
live this week.
Nice.
But this is the teen version, and there's a lot of questions that I can pose to students and get them used to talking to each other
Yeah.
in class and building that camaraderie. Because I think in any class, wherever you
Mm.
are, whatever you're learning, if you don't feel comfortable in there, if you're kind of shy in a way,
Yeah.
or you don't feel like you're heard, and not just from the teacher, but from your peers. I don't think I'm holding you to a lower standard. So
Yeah. Yeah.
what I'm trying to do here is actually kind of inflate the reality of humans being humans. And then we can talk entrepreneurship, we can talk career, we can talk online portfolios or whatever. Um, and I'm excited to start it. So this
Yeah.
week it's been going pretty well. I mean, we just started, but yeah, that's how I'm gonna go after it. And then because I know the content. I mean, I know what to teach. It's just
Yeah.
different ways of teaching it, and that's what I'm really excited about, holding people to a higher standard.
Absolutely. And I think the key to disrupting education is coming with a different approach, right? You're talking
Mhm.
about different conversation starters. And I think that's one of the challenges that we see in the classroom with education across the board, regardless of what the concept is, getting people to open up and
Mhm.
really speak, make a voice, make your voice known, make it heard. There are times where I've had to do the same. I mean, even recently working with the DJ firm, shout out to the DJ firm. Love working with those guys over there, and even in our ensemble, we just got done with our year one off the cuff group.
Yeah.
We have now like a case study to work with. Now,
Hmm.
how do we make those fine adjustments? How do we tweak the screws a little bit to make sure that it's a well-oiled machine, right, moving forward? And I think it's only for the better. We all want to see
Yeah.
each other succeed in some way, shape, or form. And you got to ask those hard questions to
Mhm.
be able to open up conversations that need to be had. Otherwise, it's the elephant that's lingering in the room. I'm sure students go through it all the time. I remember being in high school. So if you're a 16, 17-year old sitting in the classroom, don't suffer in silence. One of my good sales managers I used to have over at Chicago Tribune once told me, he said, never suffer in silence. If there's
Mhm.
something you got a question about, I'm sure there's 10 to 20 other people in the room that have that same exact question that you have, and you'd be surprised how that rings out amongst the group. So
100%.
just
I'm
want
gonna
just want to
I'm
put
gonna
that
throw
out there.
one challenge out there
Go right
to
ahead.
everybody listening to this or watching it later.
Yeah.
This is a testament to Audrey Boyle.
Yeah,
what are you all leaving that back in 23? Drop that in the
absolutely.
comments, start thinking
Yeah,
about it, start sharing. And this
absolutely.
is, by the way, this is exactly why we have these conversations, Derek, like
100%.
every week. We're putting lives out there because, hey, you know what? We got something to talk about. You guys want to join in? Let's talk. So,
Absolutely. Let's do it, man. Hey, you know what? For those who don't follow Disrupt Education, better ask Alexa. I dare you. I dare you. We I dare you to go ask Alexa to watch the Disrupt Education podcast. For those who don't know, get to know disrupteducation.co, dgsax.com. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Make sure you share this, and we'll see you next time.
all right, guys. Thank you.